Live from Los Angeles. Welcome back to Good Morning La La Land. It is an absolute honor to have Ms. AnnaLynne McCord here. She is a writer, actress, director. Mostly she cares about people. Your heart is so big.
Oh, it's so nice
You're
to
such
meet
a
you
light.
and have you here. Thank you so much for taking time.
Oh, thank you guys. I've obviously got you all fooled.
You have a
I'm a
world.
black soul.
No. You and Rob go way back, right?
We do.
I know AnnaLynne. I met her 16 years ago.
Wow.
She was working. Check this out. This is a testament to her character and to her work ethic, because she was modeling for a very big, well-known modeling agency, and she was booking very big jobs, and she was also working as an assistant.
At the
Right?
office.
At the
yeah.
office. So she would work there and then go to the casting or go to the job, come back. It's mind-blowing.
She's no dummy. She's like, let's see, I think I'll take that job.
Yeah.
The inside info.
There's only one model we represent here.
Yeah.
I actually ended up working in accounts payable, and the next year, second season I was in Miami, they called me and they're like, when are you coming back? And I was like, oh, mid-January. They're like, well, we'll fly you we'll actually pay for your flight if you come back 2 weeks early to work in the office. I was like, wait,
What?
I'm literally 12. Like, I was like, they were like, this kid, because I was one of those people who, no matter what I do, if I'm working on set or if I'm cleaning bathrooms, which I did at Saddle Ranch on Sunset, don't hold that against me.
no.
Nasty
That's great.
bathrooms. People are nasty at that place. I mean, no one would clean what was on those floors.
Oh.
And I was
Wow.
like, I just, that's my, I'm a all or nothing.
But that's what's great about you, is that you're not afraid to get down and dirty and
No,
get down there,
ma'am.
right?
Totally. And what else I love about you? So many things, but one of the things that I love most about you is one of the very first conversations I had with AnnaLynne. She was 15, okay? 15. And I'm not going to say how old I was. I was just a couple years older. But we had a conversation about Tony Robbins and neuro-linguistic programming. 15. And I remember she literally said, I'm going to do X, Y, Z in my life. And she was crystal clear about it. And I remember being the age I was at the time and thinking,
sweetie.
I'm a grown adult and I have no idea what I'm doing. You know what I mean?
You still don't.
I still don't. I'm no longer under the illusion, though, that I will find it out.
Always have that clarity.
There's a song I think that reflects my life, and I was so much older then. I'm younger than that now. I think about my former self, and I'm like, what could she come teach me a few things? Like, I was adamant about getting out of my childhood and into my dreams and goals, and I graduated at 15. I was homeschooled, but I saw an opportunity to get out. But I love education. I actually would love to go back to school. I'm very interested in neuroscience, still the brain, that hasn't gone away. But yeah, I'm talking about that book you guys I gotta get that book, because one thing, that's why I think that's why I was able to do what I was able to do in the time that I've been able to do it, because I had tunnel vision. That was it. I had one thing and that was it.
What was that one thing?
And that was acting. And it's what led me actually to the work with Together One Heart, with my charity, because I had my what. I didn't have a why. And when I got the what, I had what I call a young life crisis. I got my midlife crisis out of the way early.
Great.
I had a young life crisis. I panicked. I didn't want to be an actress anymore. I don't even know if you know this. I told my agents I'm leaving LA. I don't want to be here. This was what I wanted. This was my one thing. And you imagine putting that much focus into something and then getting there and being miserably unhappy. And I was. And the way that translates into road rage, very, very angry road rage.
Anxiety.
Especially in this town.
That happens when you're not unhappy. That just happens.
That happens anyway. Like I have this practice now where I lose it, and then I'm like, AnnaLynne, the windows are up, and so are theirs, and they can't hear you because they're in a different car. Like, what are you doing? But back then, no self-awareness, so that was fun. But yeah, I turned, actually 90210, they offered me the show 3 times. I said no, because I didn't want to be an actress anymore.
Wow.
It was, my agents were like, you're getting your big break and you're leaving. What is wrong with you?
This and Dave Chappelle.
Wow.
What convinced you then?
So my first acting partner, Jessica Menhoz, that bitch with the E word, E letter. Oh, she just smacked me. Just like, are you out of your mind? You have this incredible opportunity and this amazing platform. And she had educated me on the issue of sex trafficking when I was 17 in New York, and with Nate, her good friend, my first boyfriend, who was the love of my life. And she had told me about this, and I'm 17 in New York. We're barely breaking even and paying for our studio apartment. What can I do, is my thought at the time. And I never forgot the stories, because once you hear these stories, you know, it's something you can't ever not know anymore. And she said, you can use this pre-existing platform, especially with 90210 that had all this hype surrounding the former show and it coming back, and you can really make a difference. And suddenly there was an opportunity for a why that opened up. So I found a why that made my what make sense. So I still loved acting. I loved what I did, but I was just, this town really took it out of me. I feel like in a way you either kind of conform or you're an outcast. And I was an outcast. I am an outcast. I'm a proud member of the outcast community, because I don't conform, and I won't conform. It'll never happen. I'm always the person who's, you know, I'm ahead of the curve, or I'm off the bandwagon, or, you know, I'm a little left of center, and by little I mean a lot, and by a lot I mean extremely left of center. My brain is cuckoo. There's like 13 people in there talking right now. But it's, you know, I think as an artist I see a different world, and that's our responsibility as artists to challenge society, right?
So I got chills when you were talking about when you found out about how you can make a difference. So tell us about that. Tell us about what's going on in the world around basically everything from sex slavery to slavery of the mind. Tell us about the project.
So Together One Heart is my passion. And you guys will have to wrap me up, because I won't stop talking. So I went to Cambodia for the first time. I got involved 9 years ago. I went to Cambodia for the first time 8.5 years ago. And I thought I was going to go, you know, save children in this foreign country and do my good deed and, you know, all that jazz. And that is not what happened at all. They turned my world upside down. They changed my life. They're my heroes. But it came from something very simple. They teach and inspire, and by teach I mean show, two things: love and forgiveness. It's how they live. I'm from Georgia. I'm not just from America. I'm from Georgia. They're like, sister, we love the pimp. We love the trafficker. We forgive the pimp. We forgive the trafficker. And I'm like, no. We get big guns and we blow them up. We go kill them. We castrate them. We end their existence.
I can love them when they're dead.
I'm like, I'll forgive you now. You're a 6 feet under. Okay, bye. They're like, no, sister, we forgive. And I'm like, no. Still from Georgia. I need a gun. Need to kill somebody. You don't hurt my little babies. And through the process of the last almost decade, what's transpired in myself has been the understanding of what they meant that first time, when they didn't say this with words, they started with action. And I had never been loved like that before. I had never been loved unconditionally. I had never been that free. Even I had never allowed myself to be loved that unconditionally, I should say. I never loved myself. And they not only taught me what love was, but they taught me forgiveness, and that was forgiveness of me. And it changed my life.
Wow.
And I am I'm indebted to them for the rest of my life. You know, that's the thing about saving one person, is you save their whole life. You know, there's so much to be done, but when you save one person, like for the rest of my life, I'm a different person. Every person I meet, every person I talk to, I see them in a different light. I used to be scared of the world. I used to think everyone was out to get me. And I used to have a lot of fear and anxiety. And that, I have healthy anxiety. Like, you know, if I see a bear coming towards me, I'm going to run.
In LA, that means a car.
Yeah,
SUV.
not paying attention. An Uber.
Yeah, well, you
don't
ever think of that. You think of somebody who's like, oh, I'm making a difference in the world, and da-da-da-da. You don't think about how that the service and that miracle that I don't think anyone can ever explain. You have to experience it, and how that comes back in a way that allows you to experience yourself and life at a completely new level. So thank you so much for all of your amazing work and just being, you know, for me, a celebrity that I actually want to look to and that is actually inspirational.
Thank you.
Tell us a little bit about the event.
Okay, so in May we have our New York Gala. It's going to be at Tao. Thanks to Tao for hooking us up, giving us a really great deal with that venue. And we'll have Somali Mom, the founder, who's, it's crazy to have your hero be your best friend. She's my hero. She survived human trafficking for 10 years. She was sold in the brothels in Cambodia, escaped, got out, got educated, has rescued 7,000 girls. But she always says, it takes 5 minutes to rescue a girl, then what? Our program is about the then what. We create an entire rescue, rehabilitation, reintegration into society program that is the duration of their life. They have open door policy with our centers. They have psychiatric, psychological care that's for their life. We have a survivor network where we do check-ins forever. And Somali, you know, I call her a badass with perfect nails. She's from one end of the spectrum to the other. She's my hero and, like I said, my best friend. But at the gala, she'll attend. Some of the girls who are survivors will attend. They'll share their stories with us, and hopefully we'll take all of your money. It's amazing work.
I love that.
So yeah, that's May 7th in New York at Tao. The tickets are at togetheroneheart.org/events. But yeah, and even if you're not able to attend or you're in a different city, sign up. You can subscribe. We can get you information about our events in local towns and cities where you're at. So.
Okay, great.
Thank you.
We're going to take a little break, and when we come back, we're going to, what's the focus of the next?
Well, first we're going to take a look at the PSA for the event. Let's take another look, and when we come back, we'll talk about AnnaLynne's new show.
Okay, cool.
Thank you.
Where women and children are safe from slavery. Sadly, today such a world, one without the devastating toll of human trafficking, exists only in the imagination.
Each year, millions of girls and young women are sold or stolen into bondage.
Many forced to endure the kinds of horrific abuse most of us can't even imagine or don't want to.
Together, One Heart protects those who have endured the horrors of abuse,
so they can recover from the trauma of their experience.
Then educates, trains, and reintegrates them into mainstream society.
But this process isn't simple.
It requires human and financial resources to both raise awareness
and provide the assistance necessary to continue helping those who cannot help themselves.
Visit togetheroneheart.org
to find out how you can help.
And together, with Heart,
we can make the imaginary world that's free of slavery a reality.
What an incredible vision.
Oh, I love Susan. She's so powerful when she comes in there. She's our one of our board directors, our longest standing board directors. Huge supporters, been to Cambodia, the girls, everything. She's
Love that.
Really awesome.
So we want to hear about Let's Get Physical. Tell us about that.
Okay, so that's my first time ever doing comedy. I'm scared to death.
What was it like for you?
Scary. It's literally, but thankfully I'm not. I'm much more the straight character, like meaning that I'm, you know, I'm straight, as in not like slapstick funny, but she's also, you know, into dudes as well. But thankfully, because she has a husband. But so the two guys who carry the show are hysterical. Matt and Chris were just, and this is the most fun I've ever had on set because I was laughing. I couldn't work. I couldn't like remember my lines because they were making me laugh too much. But it was so much fun. It's a throwback to the 80s aerobics world.
Oh my gosh.
It's so ridiculous. Like the stakes are just so high about this aerobics competition. And if you go online, if you're ever like, you know, 11 o'clock at night, you're like, I need to go to sleep, and then you watch YouTube videos for 2 hours like I do, or 4 or 5 hours. The 80s aerobics videos are the best thing online. They're literally like, it's literally like an exercise competition meets the Miss Universe pageant because they
It's
have this
hilarious.
plastered
Yes.
smile that is amazing. And the guys are my favorite.
Oh my gosh. And so it was Olivia
It was so
Newton-John was Let's Get Physical, right?
Yes.
And then I grew up next to, I was like a hippie coming, but we lived next to Jane Fonda. And so she did all the Jane Fonda. Those are huge, huge things for the era. Oh my
And then
gosh.
Jane Seymour actually did some of Jane Fonda. She did like her cover thing from when she was pregnant, and then she's also best friends with Olivia Newton-John. So we're like next season.
Oh
you
my
better get it.
gosh. She's
Jane's
like
like-
icon. for the
Yes,
whole,
I
yeah.
know,
Oh my
I
gosh.
know.
So tell us a little bit more about your role.
So my role is the behind-the-scenes manipulative mastermind who's the puppeteer. Very,
So just
wholesome
kind of like
girl.
you, right?
Yeah, just like me. She's obviously working with kids in Cambodia. She's all about money. True wealth for her is taking over all of the gyms. Sorry, there's a love triangle between there's competing gyms. Like the one gym is like the mom and pop gym, and then there's our like super high tech like Equinox style. We post automatically to your social media. You have to already be really hot to be here, or you're not allowed inside our terminals. Like
It's kind of like that though in West Hollywood, right? I mean,
is.
all the pop-up different like gyms and new techniques and the buns and the Soul Cycle and Rise Nation. I mean, it's kind of like that.
It is like that. And you know what I love about the show is in a secondary kind of way, it pokes fun at this vanity in our world and just how vapid we've become. And it's like, because everything is, there's like jiggle tests and all these things that we do at the metrics gym. But the love dynamic, so my husband, Barry Cross, and I run the metrics. And then the mom and pop gym is run by my ex, who I dated in high school. And I dumped him when he lost the aerobics competition, and I married the winner. So I'm just a really great person. And basically the whole thing is set upon the stakes of my ex. His dad was the godfather of aerobics, and he's over his loser son. But he dies, and in his will, he says, "You're not getting your $8 million inheritance unless you get your life together and win the championship that you lost in high school."
Oh my gosh.
So now they're going head to head again. My husband, my ex, and then I'm like playing them both against each other and hedging my bets, and it's like it's just so it's kind of like that Ron Burgundy style like ridiculousness, but it was a lot of fun.
Amazing.
It was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Honestly, I'm
sounds like
so excited to watch it.
It's so
And
fun.
I would guess, I mean, I know that you said for you, it's sort of a new space to kind of step into, but you have a sort of natural comedic bent, I think, to your natural, like
Thank you. My
right?
friends
your real life
all tell me I'm
personality.
not funny at all.
No, not funny at all.
You guys are mean. I'm like going to do a comedy. I'm like talking about how much anxiety. I'm like, well, that makes sense because you're not funny. I'm like,
Oh, wow.
my God. Thank
Jeez.
you.
Yeah, thanks for the pep talk.
I'm gonna show them this clip. Thank
Yeah,
you,
just
Rob.
freeze that little clip
Right?
there, yeah.
Oh my gosh. Well, we have to take another break. When we come back, we're going to talk to an angel investor about starting your own business, and maybe you can help us talk about how you started in the philanthropy also, as
Yeah,
far as an actual
sustainability,
business and stuff like
yeah.
that, for sure. So
And
stay
if-
tuned, you guys.
When you want to see Let's Get Physical, you can tune in tonight at 8:30 at Pop TV. We'll be right back.
Yes.
Live from Los Angeles, welcome back to Good Morning La La Land. We are celebrating #Wealth Wednesday in house today. We've got Ms. AnnaLynne McCord and an angel himself, Mr. Matt Thompson. Thank you so much for being here with us.
Thanks for having me.
You braved the rain. I know by day you're the Senior VP of Skyview Capital. What exactly is your role there?
So my role there is finding new startups and then investing capital in them. So finding those great startups you see on the news and then trying to give them the capital to grow their business. So taking a good idea and then trying to scale it up with money.
I have a question. I think lots of folks wonder the difference between like angel investing and like a venture capitalist. Could you explain that?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
So angel investing is very early stage. These are companies that probably don't have sales yet. They're just an idea, maybe just an idea on a napkin. Venture capital is a little bit bigger checks, but companies probably with a little bit of revenue and a little bit more of a business model built out.
Gotcha. Love it.
This is a big kind of trend, right? Because it just changed, the laws changed, right? Where it used to have to be that people had to be over $1 million net worth to invest in things, and now it's open to everyone.
That's right. The Jobs Act allowed, in quotes, unaccredited investors to then invest in these startup opportunities. So there's a lot of these crowd platforms for investing and a lot more angel investment. And LA is just a great market. It's a great ecosystem for venture and entrepreneurship. I've been around here about 20 years and just seen the growth.
And you've seen it as an angel. Witnessing that is truly incredible. So we had the honor of going to one of the Tech Coast Angel events, and it was truly one of the most inspiring things I've done in Los Angeles. I feel like I'm in entrepreneur night school because I got to watch these people with these big dreams, right? Their businesses pitched to a group of people, angels essentially, that could change their entire life. What an incredible opportunity and responsibility you have in that.
So Tech Coast Angels is sort of like Shark Tank. We'll have a big auditorium, and then the entrepreneur will go up on stage and pitch their idea for 10 minutes. And then at the end of that, we'll decide, do we put in $500,000 or do we show them to the door?
So I've got a few ideas.
Yeah.
Good timing.
So I would say that one of the surprises, if you will, that learning, because Andy, our producer, and going to these events has really opened my eyes as a woman. First of all, I think that a lot of women don't even know it's possible, that they could even raise capital whatsoever. It's not even in our conversation. So I think it's really important to bring awareness around this. And secondly, I didn't realize that people don't have to be in the positive to raise money. Like, in fact, I was surprised at how much people are in debt or have just put a lot of capital and haven't maybe even had a sale yet. And it's like, what do you mean you can raise capital and you're not making cash flow? Like, that was like mind blower. So tell us a little bit about that.
That's why I say it's angels. They're very charitable with their money, potentially, because they are risky ventures. But I've actually invested in 2 women-backed startups. One's called Hop, Skip, Drive. It's essentially Lyft for kids. So if you need to get your kids from school to basketball practice to cooking class, they have these very experienced drivers who have like 5 years of kid experience picking them up and driving them.
So the mommies feel safe.
I love that.
So the mommies and they can expand their careers. And the other one was a firm called Bundle that was an e-commerce company.
And what was it about these women that made you confident in your investment?
They were both classmates from Stanford, so they had some great background in investment banking before that, and in working in Intel and a lot of major companies. But great ideas and great spirit.
So as an angel investor, what is it that you look for specifically? I know maybe it changes. Is it something that you feel like inside intuitively? Is it something different?
It's a combination. There's management team is crucial. A good idea. It doesn't have to be just an idea. Like, ideas are actually pretty cheap. Execution where it really comes into play. So it's key to have a good management team, a good idea, a defensible business which they call a moat, so that competitors can't just copy you. So maybe it's patents or trademarks. Good following on Facebook.
Awesome.
How about nonprofits? Are there any way that do startups and nonprofits ever work together? Have you ever seen anything like that?
Yeah, I invested in a company called NoCD, which is an app to help people with OCD, clinical OCD.
Wow.
So it's a social venture. They raised $1 million. They pitched to Tech Coast Angels, and they raised $1 million from a different group.
Telehealth is huge right now.
Oh, it's amazing.
Oh my goodness.
Wow, I love that. This is so inspirational. I can't believe the 2 minds right here, and just, it's so cool that I think that the show, our intention of the show is really to bring, positivity instead of we turn on the news and it's just so much negativity, and just bring positivity, inspirational stories.
I can't listen to the news.
Right? And it's just like it opens your mind. Like this one conversation right here, it could be a spark, someone that never even knew it was possible for them. So I just want to thank both you guys for all of your work. It's really inspirational.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It's absolutely incredible. I agree with you. I remember reading a quote somewhere, and the quote was like, you don't prove you're rich by getting, but by giving. That's how you prove you're rich. And I just love that, because you guys are the epitome of that. I mean, you're really just giving from your heart. Things that you feel like have a chance or a shot of working out, but that's true of anybody or anything, right?
There's a quote that you remind me of. It goes, "Some people are so poor, all they have is money." I was like, yes.
Great quote. Yes.
That on Instagram. My quote of the week.
Right. So for people out there that maybe have not gotten to the place where they have a management team or something like that, what can they do in their business to go, I need to build X, Y, and Z to have the potential of going to an angel investor?
So a lot of it's getting in the right network. So if you go to techcoastangels.com, you can see information about how to start your business and how to get in contact. And then a warm lead is always helpful. You can't just send a blind email. But if you know someone in the network within the ecosystem and get you connected, that really helps. But all you need is a really insightful idea, and then
some passion around it.
So AnnaLynne, I'm very curious, if you had your napkin at the bar, right, and you wrote your business idea down, what would that business be? What would that be?
I can't tell you about patenting. Well, you know, I mean, in you know, to your point, talking about sustainability for you know, survivors of sexualized violence and sex trafficking, and partnering in some capacity with, you know, whether it be like micro loans or whatever it is, to encourage not just this, once again, not just a rescue situation, but having a life of dignity. And the biggest issue that you have with yourself and your identity is what do I do in the world? What do I offer the world? And it was the issue of the 1950s housewife, the problem with no name, they called it, and they're giving women all these barbiturates, and I'm sure they didn't mind that necessarily, but it was like they had fatigue and they were taking naps and exhausted during the day because they had nothing to do. You need a project, and I am, you know, my mania gives me many project ideas, so it wouldn't be one napkin, it would be the whole lot.
You gotta read the one book, the one thing.
I'm writing on the tablecloth.
She owns the entire brawny factory.
So I'm going to get this number for sure.
There's a whole industry called social entrepreneurship where it's investing in nonprofits, which has really taken off.
That's cool. That's really cool.
Huh, I've never heard of that. So tell us a
It's
little
like double bottom line. So it's companies that focus on helping society while making a profit, or just it's applying business techniques to nonprofits so they can be more successful.
Appreciate that too, because they see, oh, I can consume and feel good about myself.
Exactly.
So it's actually a selling point.
Like
Yeah, the
honest
rise
company.
of the conscious consumer.
Yeah.
And is that the same, or is that different from like impact investment?
That's very similar.
Very
There's sort of
similar.
a lot of overlap.
Yeah.
We actually had a conference at LA Clean Tech Incubator about social entrepreneurship. There's a lot of initiatives probably related to what you're doing in terms of, you know, helping communities overseas in Southeast Asia.
I absolutely love the direction that things are going in terms of the conscious business, because I think it's fantastic, and it's sort of turning over this assumption that we have that to do good in the world means to not also do good for yourself. That you can do both, that you can do good for people and you can make money doing it and you can make money for them. I think for a long time, lots of, at least the way I grew up, it was like, you got to do things that you hate and be very, very selfish in a way, and then you can be successful, and then maybe you can give back.
Right.
But you know, more and more people are realizing you can do both at the same time, and you should be. If you can.
Yeah, absolutely.
So how did you get into this? What was were you always in this investment world?
So I actually got into medical school, but wanted to do more technology investing. So I worked at Price Waterhouse, and then I worked at a startup in Huntington Beach. We probably raised the most money in 2000. Then we went bankrupt, but learned through that the whole cycle. Tried to go public. I went to Stanford Business School to learn from some great entrepreneurs like Eric Schmidt and Andy Grove. And then I worked at Sony Pictures doing mergers and acquisitions, so the business side of entertainment, launching TV networks globally.
And so where do you see the industry going? We've seen everything from people doing, beginning to have like infomercials for startups and things like that. I think that there's going to be more and more, since it's a huge industry, that we're really at the very beginning of a huge tidal wave, I believe, in the startup and angel funding.
It's huge. I mean, angel investing is growing rapidly. There's a lot more of it happening. People are getting more sophisticated. There's a lot with crowdsourcing and things that show, create the whole infrastructure on creating the videos to do an Indiegogo campaign or Kickstarter campaign. So it's really exciting right now. And LA is just a great place to be doing it. It used to be LA was sort of a venture backwater, but today LA is probably one of the top 5 markets in Los Angeles.
Interesting.
How have you seen that change? I mean, what does the landscape of that look like to you?
So there's just some great companies. I sort of think of LA as, damn, it's dating apps like Tinder and eHarmony. It's aerospace like SpaceX, and M is like media, so Hulu and Netflix and Maker Studios and Fullscreen and all these great
Focus TV.
Focus
TV. That's great. Thank you so much for all the insight. And I'm really interested in all this, and we are at Focus TV because we really believe that bringing this inspiration, it has to go out in commerce, because really that is the biggest influence in our world, in America and across the world. So thank you so much for all that. We're looking forward to working with you more and finding out how we can help empower the people that are really passionate about making a difference in the world. Right?
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
So we're going to take a break, you guys. When we come back, we're going to wrap up Wealth Wednesday. Stay tuned.